Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Something I haven't done in the past, gosh, probably 2 or 3 weeks. I know it's been a little while since I've done a post, but I haven't been picking up a ton of stuff. Because I've been getting a lot more picky about things that I pick up and stuff of that nature. But I still have picked up a few decent things and still been kind of doing a lot of my purging. I've actually spent more time over the past few weeks working on my system. Then I've sold two or three receivers. I sold a pair of speakers the other day, and purchased a couple other things. Kind of doing the swap thing. So I really need to do a video sometime here in the near future, just kind of sharing some of the changes that I've made in my system, and just kind of sharing that as part of everything else. But let me just kind of go into this and show you some of the things that I've picked up. And I'm going to start out with some CDs here, because that's one thing that I've definitely been getting into just as much as vinyl lately, especially on kind of the MoFi and Japanese pressing and things like that. So these first, I don't think I've shown these first two in the previous video, but if I have, then, excuse me, just have to kind of see it again really quick. So we'll start off here with this Carly Simon. This is No Secrets. As I mentioned a moment ago, I'm really starting to get into these MoFi CDs. They're hybrids. I just really like them. I mean, it's nice because these CDs give me the same type of satisfaction that I get from purchasing a brand new or absolutely great, perfect condition reissued vinyl. Just the fact that it's more than just a CD and a little hard flip case. Most of these are kind of gatefold, and you have the protective sleeve that comes around the CDs. You get the booklets, so it's very, very vinyl-like in from the collecting aspect, and I'm really starting to love these things, which is nice. So that's Carly Simon, No Secrets. Of course, has her hit, You're So Vain, which is probably my favorite song by her. Haven't opened this one yet, but this is Carly Simon, Anticipation. I do love me some Carly. Let's see, next we will go to, this is Carole King, Tapestry. Of course, legendary album, everybody knows this one. Again, I just love these things. So awesome. And Santana. Excuse me. Again, another classic album. I don't think I have to talk about that much. Haven't opened this one yet, but got The Pretenders. And that's Learning to Crawl, which is probably my favorite album by them. Has song of Back on the Chain Gang and Middle of the Road and a lot of other great hits there. And I actually found this one for like $8 in the store. I couldn't believe it, in perfect condition. But Eric Clapton, Slow Hand. Original remastered gold disc, which is nice. These usually cost a pretty penny, so to find it that cheap in perfect condition, I mean, that was just one of those lucky days. A couple more here. Solomon Burke. I've known him for quite some time. I've heard his stuff, but I never really got into him or really discovered his, just his body of work. And there's a guy who works at a local store, who's a huge fan, and he had bought this album, and he played it for me the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good stuff. And he told me he had this CD in the shop, and I ended up picking it up. So I definitely ended up liking that, and even though I've known him and heard some of his stuff, I really kind of feel like I'm just now truly getting introduced to his work. And from a sound perspective, it reminds me a lot of like a Sam Cooke, but not quite as like gospel soulful as Sam Cooke. He's like a Sam Cooke, a little more going towards a Nat King Cole. Again, he doesn't sound like Nat, don't get me wrong, but if you were like moving from the soul from this of Sam Cooke to Nat King Cole, Solomon will be going a little more like this than that, and I bet that made sense, so I'm gonna stick with it. So there we go. And of course, the man himself, the king of the blues, one of the kings of the blues, John Lee Hooker. Another nice Japanese pressing there. I didn't show this already, did I? I don't think so. Joan Jett, another nice Japanese pressing. And last but not least on the CDs, John Coltrane, A Love Supreme. This is the deluxe edition. You know, again, in my opinion, the greatest jazz album of all time. And this just has, of course, the studio album on disc 1, and then on disc 2, there's kind of a couple of live takes, and then some alternate takes of Psalms and a few other songs from the Love Supreme album. So, considering it was my favorite album of all time, it was kind of nice to actually hear those alternative takes, which were nowhere near as good as what they ended up putting on the album, thank goodness. So those are, like I said, kind of a few of the CDs that I've picked up. Well, let's jump into some of the vinyl. I'm going to start here with, I know we just had a record store day, you know, Black Friday or whatever, and those of you that, you know, kind of know me, especially over the years, that I've really fallen out of favor with record store day. Just the fact that it's turned into so much of a big spectacle type, not spectacle, but it's just, you know, it's just one more mob type of thing, and I don't know, I've lost my luster for it. But this year there was one thing that I really wanted, where you can go back to videos that I've done 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I've talked about how much I would love to see this album reissued. And the fact that it was reissued this record store day was fantastic. And this is the Sundays Static and Silence. Static and Silence. Yeah, this is one that I've been wanting for a long time. And luckily I have a buddy that works at a record store and, you know, kind of hooked me up. But yeah, I mean, this has really been a good year for reissues for me personally, in the sense that when I think about a lot of the albums, whether it's the Cranberries, you know, Everybody, Concrete Blonde, and a few others too, where I've just been saying for a long time before, you know, anything was even announced, I would love to have these albums reissued. I would love to have them reissued, and almost every one that I've said that about has been reissued this year. And sure enough, right before the year ends, they do it with one of the other albums that I said I wish they would reissue that. So yeah, this was a very exciting one to get. It is on clear vinyl, which kind of bothered me a little bit, but I really don't care. You know, I wasn't willing to spend $140 for an original pressing, so I'll take the clear vinyl for only $24. I'm never going to complain about them reissuing an album that I've wanted for so long. And even though it's only like a $24 album, you know, it feels like totally grail to me. So that's kind of awesome. See, I also picked up a copy of Kim Carnes. I actually replaced my copy with this one. Nice MoFi pressing of Mistaken Identity. And of course this has her, you know, mega hit song, Betty Davis Eyes. So very good pressing of that. And then 3 weeks ago or so, and I guess I haven't done a video since, but Billy Hurst. Man, all you guys know Billy H here in the VC. My brother from another mother for sure. We went to a record show together, and neither one of us picked up a ton of stuff that day. I think Billy even mentioned that in the video he did. You know, it just wasn't the greatest of shows. I think I picked up like one album and a couple of CDs or something like that. I don't even think I spent $15 into that day, which in a way is kind of good. But I did come home with this bad boy right here because Billy H hooked me up. And I'm sure you guys have kind of seen this in the VC long before now that I'm showing it. But this is Billy Hurst, Small Town Fool. I think it was his 20-year anniversary or something like that on this album. So he went ahead and did a vinyl pressing of it. And it was cool too because we had lunch after the show, and he was just kind of telling me about, you know, the process of putting this together and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it was really kind of interesting when you know, kind of get that behind the scenes stuff and everything. But yeah, I had a chance to listen to it. Actually, I've listened to side 1, 2, and 3. I have not really 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. But I haven't had a chance to listen to side 4 yet, which is the one with the bonus tracks. So that's the one side that I haven't spun yet for whatever reason. I just listened to 3 sides at one day and I never went back to it. So, but yeah, from what I heard, man, I mean, it was great stuff. It was just Billy H doing his thing. So Great country album. You can definitely tell it was well produced, well put together, and awesome little signature there as well. So I'm definitely going to take this cover, and it's going to be up on the wall of Mr. Hall of Fame's record room pretty soon. So that's awesome. So I really appreciate that, Billy, man. Set these back up. And he also hooked me up with this. He had heard me talk about this group in a couple of videos, and he picked up this nice copy of Talk Talk It's My Life for me, which is really cool because he heard me talk about the band, so he wasn't sure if I had this album or not, and I did already have a copy, but this copy was so mint. I mean, it was so much better than the copy that I had that it just kind of made for a nice purge of mine, and to get this nice perfect piece in my collection, which is cool too because this is my favorite Talk Talk album as well. So it's nice to have just a fantastic copy of this. But I think it's 1984, I believe this came out, and the song "It's My Life" is my favorite song by them. So another great one. So thanks a lot, Billy H, man. I really appreciate it. More pickups here. Got Third Plane here with Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock, and Tony Williams. Just a nice jazz album. I have never heard before. And this was just one of those roaming through the stores. He had just gotten in some new stuff and hadn't marked it yet. So I was digging through that and just pulled this out. I'm like, what's that? And I don't know, blah, blah. Listened to it and thought that stuff is pretty awesome. And he was like, yeah, give me $5. And I was like, deal. So very, very cool stuff. I mean, definitely kind of that late 70s Herbie Hancock type of sound to it, little fusionish, little funkish, little kind of straightforward jazz, just a little mixture of everything. So that was a new discovery. Here's another album that I did not realize had been reissued, and this was reissued a few years ago. I mean, it's not even like it was last month or something. But the album is Death, and this is For the Whole World to See. Really, really cool album, and the way I discovered it had been reissued, because again, I had heard of the band before, and I had heard some of their stuff in the past. I just always thought they were cool because they were one of the few bands, period, much less black bands, back in the, I guess it was late 60s going into the 70s or something like that, that it really started to do kind of punk and I guess maybe somewhat punk metal to some degree, but I guess more on the punk experience side, before punk music was even punk music. And just the fact you also had kind of three brothers doing it, that's just, I mean, they were just on a whole nother level ahead of everything, their time, just everything. And so again, I had known about them, and I'd heard their story and read some things before, and then the documentary came on a little while ago that was, I think it's called A Band Called Death. And I was watching that, and I was like, it was kind of cool, just hearing the story and everything. And then at the end, they talked about them, getting the master tapes, and they put out the record. I was like, what? And sure enough, I go look online, and there's like tons of them all over the place. I'm like, how in the world did I miss that? And again, this was years ago, like, 2009, 2010? I mean, like, years ago this happened. I'm like, how in the world did I miss that? But it was a good discovery. So I got a chance to get my hands on this album, and really, really good stuff. Again, if you are a punk fan, this is an album that you have to have, because, again, they were doing it before probably almost any punk band that you love was doing it. Really, 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 really good stuff. And then we'll go from Death to Diana Krall. And this is the best of. Kind of working towards completing my Diana Krall collection. Had some other gift certificates again, so I decided to pick this up. I still need her Christmas album, and then once I get that, I will have her entire catalog on vinyl, which is really nice. Because Diana Krall was another one of those artists that I've been wanting to do reissues, because her original pressings were running, $100, $150 plus. And sure enough, the past year and a half to 2 years, they've been reissuing all of her catalog, which is awesome. And this is definitely a great album too. Kind of smooth vocal jazz, a very tasteful sexiness that she brings to vocal jazz, And my favorite song, at least off of the, well, possibly all together, but Peel Me a Grape, I think that song is just freaking awesome. Yes, yeah, so that's a nice pickup. And this is what I actually got at the record show with Billy that day. I picked up Jimi Hendrix Isle of Wight. Just one of the Hendrix albums on my list that I've been needing to pick up. Very, very good album too. I mean, so some really good live recordings of stuff like Foxy Lady, Lover Man, Freedom, All on the Watchtower, In from the Storm. I mean, it's just, you know, Jimmy doing Jimmy on this one. So that was a great album. And let's see, the rest of these here are, well, got one more here first. Another addition to the Whitesnake box set that I'm working on. This is a 12-inch single. Here I Go Again. Still has a little card and the hype sticker in there too as well. So that's another nice pickup on working towards the Whitesnake box set. And then the rest of these were just kind of replacements. Stuff that I purged earlier on in the year because they weren't in perfect condition and just kind of was waiting around to get some nice copies. So I got a very, very nice original pressing of Van Halen Diver Down here. So that was nice. Black Sabbath's Greatest Hits. So I got that to add to the Black Sabbath box set. Linda Ronstadt here. That was another nice replacement that I needed. Hasten Down the Wind. Just her doing her awesome thing. And last but not least, this is a Ready for the World. One of my favorite 80s R&B bands right there. And I was so glad to get this one too, because when I purged my other one because of the condition, that was one that was really kind of hard to do, because I was just thinking, you know, I usually don't stumble across really, really nice copies of those, and I love that album and want to keep it, but I was just like, stick to the principle, stick to what you're trying to do and accomplish, and I got rid of it. And sure enough, I was hanging out in the store the other day, and a guy came in to sell a bunch of albums. He was, you know, bargaining back and forth with the owner or whatever. And finally, he didn't want to accept the price that the owner had, so he took his records and left. And then we're still sitting there talking, and he comes back in like 15, 20 minutes later. It's like, okay, fine, give me the, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so he gives it to him. Like, as soon as he walks out, I just step to the counter and start looking through. It was like, boom, there it is. He's like, yeah, $2, you can have it. So, right place, right time to get one back in my collection that I really wanted. So there you go, guys. That's really kind of the stuff that I've picked up over the past 2 or 3 weeks or so. And yeah, and again, like I said, I've really been getting into more of the MoFi CD things, as well as, you know, when you've seen the vinyl there as well. So yeah, kind of building both sides of both sides of my collection there. And like I said, I'll do a video here too in the near future to kind of show you some of the things that I'm getting ready to get rid of, in case some people in the VC might be interested, whether it's a sell thing, or especially if you have some MoFi pressings or MoFi CDs that you're looking to trade. I mean, that would be awesome too. We can kind of work out a deal. But even just give you an idea about what some of that stuff is. I mean, and all of this stuff is in perfect condition. Like, I decided to get rid of this, you know, Soundgarden. This is the Telephantasm. I can never say that title right. You know, nice 3 LP set, mint condition. You know, got a little Tesla here. What else? Let's see. I guess I need to go through it now. You know, just a few different metal things here. I pulled out some stuff from my 90s section as well. Yeah, so I'll do a video of that, and like I said, if someone kind of is interested in anything, just kind of let me know. But other than that, VC, thanks for watching as always. Always great touching base with you guys, and we will talk to you soon.